Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, hanging out with my good friend Jack from Rerolling Ones.
That's me. How's it
It,
going, everybody?
it is in fact you. And today we are just hanging out. Let me pull up the chat on my phone here because it's easy to do that when I'm sitting over at the desk. I'm going to go to the downward cam. And tonight,
Sweet.
what are you working on, Jack?
I am proving that I'm not a welcher on bets, so I am painting. I am painting models that I made two bets during this football season, which it just ended, so it's been a while. So I bet um, Davis from Canada that the Ravens, the Seahawks would be the Ravens, and of course Seahawks lost that game. And on that same game, I bet a local player named Matt. And I finished Matt's model, which he just and it was whatever they wanted within reason. I wasn't gonna get like a bloodthirster or
Right,
something.
right, right.
But so Matt just wanted a Griffhound, and
Oh,
it's like instead of painting it like the Ravens colors, he's like, no, I want it the Seahawks colors. And so here it is. It's the Griffhound. You can't really see it that well, but I like half the Griffhound is normal Seahawks, but the other half I gave it a lot of battle damage since we got our butt kicks that game. So it's I like it, and I'm finally getting them done. And this is the Morgor, I believe his name is the Shadow Gave. He is a shaman,
okay, yeah.
and so yeah, he is his this is for his wife's army, and so he's actually waiting me to finish it up so they can kind of base their army they're going to build off this model.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
and I'm trying to get it done. It's actually coming along. I'm enjoying painting it a lot. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Sweet.
yeah. Beast of Chaos is like one of my armies that I'm like, how you have the few armies that you're going to play. Like it was Bone Splitters and,
Mm-hmm.
Nurgle and all these armies that eventually you're going to play. I'm eventually going to build the Beast of Chaos army because that was like the third fantasy battle army I ever played, like when they first came out. And it was the first time I actually started winning and beating people because when Beastmen first came out, they were like really good. Everybody had two wounds, and it was back when nobody had two wounds. So it was a fun time in my life. I believe it
Yeah,
was like ninth grade, so it was a while ago.
nice. For me, I am painting up. I want to do something easy, so I'm just doing the Nurgle demons that I have left for my Nurgle army. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you're not gonna split up those Nurglings and put like one on each base? I've seen people do that. So you get three bases of Nurglings for every one.
Um, for me, I always like to have at least one set of kind of what GW intended, and then from there I'll make up my own stuff. And so these three are going to be like just as they are in the box, and then if I do any more in the future, which honestly, I mean, the demon stuff doesn't really speak to me,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll make them fancy. I'll do fun stuff like that. Split them all up, different poses.
Yeah, I recently how do you get your hobby hauls? I got a hobby haul that I'll share with everybody really quick.
Yes, epic.
I
He puts
picked,
mine to shame.
yeah, that's why I picked it up from a good friend Derek. He's a friend of the channel for Rerolling Ones. He's been there on I think a couple times with his Iron Jaws and Seraphon last year. But I got a whole Gloom Spike Gits army,
Yeah.
um, and it's one of the things where Derek is a very good player. Like I believe not 19 2018 he was best destruction player for ITC. He's a really good player. I think he's probably the best player in Washington. But that being said, he is when he paints, it's to get the minimum standard for a tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
Base, three colors, and that actually works decent for a battle report channel because you don't really get too close and see a lot of details. But I'll say this stuff is channel ready, and here's one of them. And I think if this stuff like just got washed, it'd be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
It's you can tell. I believe he painted a Slanesh army he used at the tournament in a week. That's the kind of stuff he just speed paints. So I got a whole Gloom Spike Gits army. So it's the shrine there. This bag looks like the what is the group of guys you get in a box? They're like all characters.
Oh, the Gabapalooza.
Yeah, Gabapalooza and two loon bosses on foot. These here, there are two of these in there. Okay, let's see what else I got. And again, like honestly, like a wash and maybe some highlights, and these are done.
Yeah, yeah.
That
No,
looks like
I saw the pictures. They look fantastic. I mean, I mean, it's a good deal as far as it's a great deal,
Yeah.
but
It's a really good deal. Like he told me, like if you bought it from Games Workshop, it's $1,200 worth of gets, which is like wow. And so he sold to me for a really good deal. I'm not gonna put it, but like crackhead prices. You know how I love these crackhead
yeah,
prices that my friends give, but it looks like you're not the only one who does it.
yeah.
I got two of these guys. These are pretty cool looking. And I don't even have the book yet. I borrowed the Gets book from Shu. Got and a ton of these knights. I don't know what they're called.
The
The
Boing
knight
Out
princess.
Rounders.
Okay, Boing Grot Bounders. I got one of these things. These are Mangra Squig.
Yeah, yeah.
One of those. Yeah, I got the Endless Spells. Oh, cool. I got the Underworld's Warband. The Wolf guys.
Oh wait, the brand new ones.
Yeah, look at this.
How recently did he get out of this?
He has played. He's bought 5 armies within the past, I think, 2 months.
Oh, I hate that.
Like,
That's miserable. That's so much
yeah,
collecting.
yeah. The Tempest Eye army that I have, all the horses,
Yeah.
I got from the same person. And so, let's see what else I got. I got packet of what are these called? They have the little sniffer squigs.
Sneaky Snufflers.
Okay, looks like they're about
I think
5.
they come in a weird number.
Yeah, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe 9 to 12 of those. A lot of Boing Grot Bounders. A whole lot of Boing Grot Bounders. Wow. Maybe I have enough. Is there a War Scroll Battalion of those?
Yeah, they have a small battalion and then a squiggle inch is like when you make the entire army,
Okay.
which you might have enough for.
I have the fanatics that have the exploding mushrooms at the end of their guys. I don't know what they're called.
Nice, nice.
Let's see. It looks like some grots with bows. See some grots with sword and shield. Bunch of netters. Just some regular squigs on foot, and the bagpipe guy. And some more grots with hand weapons. Cool. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
My buddy Ricky hooked me up with a bunch of movement trays, so I'm gonna learn how to play these guys. Maybe record a bat rep this week with them.
Sweet.
So, there were no trolls, but Shu actually has a ton of trolls. So I think we have everything. Oh, and special characters in there too. The I don't know what his name is.
Oh, Skygrot the Loon King.
Yeah, he's in there as well. So yeah, I think that's definitely another thing to add to the channel, and I didn't have to paint it.
There you go.
So that's all right. But now, this last bat rep, I'm kicking myself in the butt for because it's tough when you're trying to get all these rules down and you make one mistake. Like I had a magic weapon that did mortal wounds on a 6, and I thought it was a 6 to hit, but it was 6 to wound. And that I don't think it changed the game in that drastic a thing, but it's just one of those things. You're like, oh man, I wish I didn't do that. Can you close the door? Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. There's a lot. I mean, man, there's a lot going on when you play these games, dude.
Yeah. And so you kick it but it's one of those things like on to the next one. I can't really get hung up on it. It's like I think of it like a football player who let somebody score a touchdown, like as a cornerback or something. You're just like, I'll get him next time.
Yep.
So how was I can tell you about the tournament. So
yes, I would love to hear about that.
The first ITC tournament in Washington so far. There was actually a GT in Spokane. So we had a RTT today and yesterday in Seattle. And I took my Tempest Eye army, which consisted of I had 5 units, 3 units of Outriders, 2 units of Pistoliers. I had a unit of 10 Evocators, a Heralder, and a Knight Heralder and a Knight Incanter,
okay,
and a Hurricanum, which was my general. I gave him the Thermal Rider cloak, so I could get that +4 movement and fly. And that was just to team up with my Iron Drake, which had Iron Drake in there. And so the goal was I had the two separate threats. Mm-hmm. One was the Evocators that so the first turn with Tempest Eye, you get +3 to your movement and +1 to your save. And so with the Heralder, I could blow the horn and make the evocators run in charge. And so with
Nice.
Tempest Eye, also you get +1 to run. And so and we're playing in Gur. I knew, and so you got the wild form spell,
Yep.
which gives you +2 to run in charge. So the goal was with the evocators, cast wild form on them. They're +2 to run in charge. Get blow on them so they can run in charge. And so you have 8 movement plus whatever you roll for your run +2, then you charge, and so basically first turn charge.
Yep.
And it's interesting how if you go back maybe a year, maybe 2 years now, when evocators were first coming out, and how everybody thought they were broken and cheesy, and now you look at them and they're just quaint.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, isn't that cute, evocators?
Yep.
Oh, because in the world of fighting first, evocators they're just good now. They're not, they're honestly like, you could see a world where they go back down to 200 points where everybody was complaining about. But I'm putting it out there. Stormcast, they're due for another book.
Yeah.
But anyway, but I like so in Tempest Eye, that was just another threat, and so that was one kind of combo there. The other one was the Hurricanum with the since it was my general, it had I think it's called Eagle Eye.
Okay.
So every units wholly within 12 get +1 to wound when they shoot. And so I get my Hurricanum up there, and then I kind of fly high with the Ironclad, excuse me, and land it. And now the Ironclad, and you volley fire on it, and it's hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 2s, and it has. I take the volley cannon, so that's 46 shots, which one time I rolled 6 out of 4 dice. Oh man, that was brutal. But another time I rolled 22. So it was definitely random, which is fun. And the first game I played against Petrifex Elite.
Yep.
And that game, I was kicking myself in the butt because it's my first time playing the army, so I'm forgetting a few things, which happens. Even though I did have AOS reminders, which is a great website, I printed that up. But AOS reminders only works is if you read it. I gave it a once over. I'm like, I got this. And then you're like, oh man, why didn't I do? Like one thing that cost me the game is I didn't know that when the Heralder blows his horn on terrain that's wholly within 18, it does D3 mortal wounds to somebody like I think within 3 inches of it. But I thought that was everybody, and so I didn't do it because I didn't want to hurt myself. Turns out it's only enemy units, and I could have killed something that was on a objective. But that's just one thing. And the thing that really cost me is splitting up my fire, like I always do, because it always works. It's going to work for me eventually, splitting up my fire. And if I would have just focused fire on one thing and got it off an objective, I would have captured it, burned it that turn, got the points for it, and it would have been game. Rather than like I had to burn a couple objectives, and like going to the final, if he double turns me, he's going to get to my objective and burn it. If I get to go next, I'm going to kill him off of his objective and burn his.
Right.
And so it was he double turned me, so he got to win. But it was still a really fun game. He ended up winning the whole tournament, and he told me like ours was the closest game by far.
Oh, that's good.
So that was cool. And the next game, played against a guy named Phil. He played Slave to Darkness, and it was my first time playing against the new Slaves to Darkness, besides the time on the channel. But
actually, can I back you up? I want to ask one question. So you had a good time playing against Petrifex?
Yeah, because they're quick, but they're like not that. I had a fine time because the evocators did mortal wounds, so I was able to dump out mortal wounds onto some stuff, and it's just like sniping out the characters was like killing off the harvester, and with the ironclad. So I have a lot of mobility, and it wasn't that bad. Okay. I don't have a ton of melee like units that I gonna slog down and get in combat. I'm mainly about speed and maneuverability rather than going head to head with a unit and trying to fight.
Cool. No, you're good. You can go forward. I just wanted to ask to clarify.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really good army. It doesn't feel like awful when you play them. It didn't, at least, but of course he didn't have Nagash, so that's different too.
That's fair.
The middle game was against Slaves of Darkness, and the player named Phil. He's pretty new, but he's a great guy. He plays 40K now, but he's getting into Age of Sigmar. And man, if you're playing against Nurgle, Slaves to Darkness, target that war shrine that
Yeah.
gives the shrug, because he made so many shrugs, and I was just like, and looking back on it, because I barely won. It was one of those things I was able to. It was three places of power. He had a hero on an objective for almost the whole game, and I had two of the objectives from like the second round onward. But then he cleared me off one, and so I was down by like I only ended up by winning by two. And so the ability to fly high with the ironclad and drop again, and just it has a very uh, just an overwhelming firepower with that thing. Even without the buffs, with the
Hmm.
buffs, it turns it to 11. But just by itself, it's still really good. And I'm gonna get some thunderers to put inside of it
Oh
just
yeah.
to make it go, because right now it's, even just the base ship is really good, but thunderers is gonna put it over the top. Anyway, so blew him off that objective, and he wasn't able to get my guy off the other one, and so that was that game. And the final game was against a guy Andrew, who's actually like the president of the gaming club I'm in, Victoria's Secret, and he played with his Fire Slayers. And this is my first time playing against the triple Hearthguard
Yeah.
Fire Slayers, and that is, whew,
It's a
it's one
grind
of those things.
fest.
It's one of those things you're like, and they can do that too. You're just
Yeah.
kind of like, oh my goodness, that's so good, because they have stuff that lets them fight first, stuff that lets them pile in and attack twice, and they got the 4-up shrug if there's heroes involved, and we're playing Knife to the Heart, which was it's I was kind of confident, but I thought I was giving myself enough space, but he had two units buried under the ground with I think they're called room smiters,
Okay.
and he popped them both up, and he made every charge. Like he didn't roll below 10 for a charge in this game, and so it's really hard to win when your opponent makes every long charge.
Yes. Yep.
It still got close, because I was able to snipe out a lot of heroes, leaving his Hearthguard with just that 5-up 6-up save, which is a lot more manageable.
Hmm.
And so I was able to kill almost 2 units of Hearthguard, but they're still so killy, and so they were able to kill my evocators off my objective and win with Knife to the Heart.
Nice.
But still, great games. Every game was close. Every game was like nip and tuck, and so we had, and all the opponents we had good times, and we just talked about how fun the game was at the end, because it was one of those were games where they were decided on coin tosses almost. So you're
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh. And and so I enjoyed it, and that was Mox in Seattle. So, and my friend Doug signed up, but he wasn't able to
I
go.
was not able to come. Sorry, everybody. Although I
Yeah.
did, right as you were hopping on this call,
Uh-huh.
sent a link to the event on the 29th at Terracrux. I will be going to that one.
Oh, okay.
Because the next one's a
29th.
GT, and I don't want to do the 2 day thing, right?
Yeah. I got
So,
a wedding to go to, so you're gonna have to be there by yourself,
oh
sir.
man,
Yeah.
my safety blanket known as Jack will not be there.
I wish I could go, but yeah, I gotta go to a wedding.
Cool, cool. Right on. So that's cool. Had a good time. That was your first time with your Cities of Sigmar since you got all
Yeah.
excited about it. Did it live up to your expectations?
Yes, I had a lot of fun, especially because I think we talked about it before. Tempest Eye, as far as lore, is just kind of like blah. It's didn't. There's not too much about it, and it's
Yeah.
just kind of okay. I'm a giant mountain in Akshi. Have fun. Whereas like some ones are cooler. Like I love Greywater Fastness lore, but their shooting's just not as good as some, especially like with a new KO book. That's what I really like about like the new Ironclad and Tempest Eye. I think is great.
All right. Yeah. What is it about Tempest Eye that makes the boat specifically?
Oh, because you can take it. You because 1 in 4 units can be Kharadron Overlords.
Okay. I more meant like, is there anything specific that buffs it, or is just the fact that you can have it?
Well, because your first turn you have a +1 to your save, so it has a 2-up save, meaning like if somebody like starts to kill that thing before you get to use it, um, it's like you have a really good save, and it's like the weapon profiles on it don't degrade. The only things that degrade are its movement, its abilities to disengage and fly high, and like it's like abilities to like do mortal wounds in combat.
Hmm.
So like that's what, but the shooting, it's still always as deadly as ever.
I love it. Okay. Right on.
Mhm.
That's sweet. What are you? Let's see. Chat here. We got any questions? If you have any questions for me or Jack, go ahead and throw them in the chat. We're
Totally.
just hanging out and chatting tonight. Nothing else going on. Let's see. Have to learn. Let's see. I'm picking up the new Warcry, Seraphon, and Corn packs both. Hope they do Lizardmen Blitz Bowl. I don't know anything about Blitz Bowl except for, I don't know, some folks were talking about it on a podcast that I like, but that's about it. But
Let's. Yeah, what is that? Is that for GW or is that a different game?
it's GW. It's basically a new updated take and a simplified version of Blood Bowl.
Oh, okay.
And I believe they sell it like at Barnes and Noble and that kind of stuff. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But apparently like the changes to it, the people who I know that play it are like crazy about it.
That's cool.
But locally, I kind of asked around a little bit just to be like, oh, if there's anyone who's going to be interested in this, that kind of thing. And locally, we have a lot of older folks who are very diehard with Blood Bowl, and they didn't really want to try it. So it is what it is.
I see a lot of people playing that Guild Ball game. Have you ever played that?
I have not. Sports games just as a theme don't grip me.
Understood.
I don't know. Have you played it?
No, I've just seen it. The only like non-GW game I've played was I think you saw me playing it where there was cards involved and you're like in this old west kind of thing.
Yeah, Wild West Exodus.
Yeah, that was fun. I actually had a really good time, and it's just one of those things where you try to step outside of your comfort zone of like, am I being a fanboy where I don't like anything else? Because I'm like, I think I am. I think I'm being a groupie to GW by not giving other stuff a shot. And you're like I want to play BattleTech with our friend Greg. Greg has on Cranky Old Gamer. He does a lot of BattleTech content. And I remember playing BattleTech as a kid and playing the Mech Warrior games and stuff like that and having a blast doing that. And who doesn't like gigantic mechs?
Exactly.
And so I would definitely love to give that a shot. But, it's also like, you just only have a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already have so much stuff to paint, and I can't even get Age of Sigmar rules right now. I got to worry about something else.
That's funny. Yeah, the only game that I actively want to try and get into that there's just not a big scene for it locally, so I hesitate to invest too much is Malifaux, which is pretty. I mean, it's down the same road as Wild West Exodus in terms of like weird Victorian style, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember seeing like these goblin ninjas, and I was like, "Oh, I would play them."
Yeah. So
I wish they didn't have it packaged in a. I wanted to see what the models look like. They have art as the package.
Yeah, I think that's a weak point. Question for Jack: since you were in Seattle, making your way to any tournaments in BC, Canada this year?
Oh, definitely. I'll be hitting up Wet Coast again. I love that. I had a blast at Attack X. That was like a sleeper kind of tournament I went to, though. I was on vacation, and I think that was my last week of vacation, and then I saw the Vancouver group, Age of Sigmar group, talking about it. And I'm like, where is Kamloops at? Because to me, I thought anything outside of Vancouver was just grizzly bears and forest.
Oh, and Mounties.
Like, yeah, man, I don't want to go get lost and get killed by a grizzly bear. And then I'm just like, all right, I'll go there. And it's funny, I just left at my house at 2 a.m. driving up there, and I was crossing the border, and they're like, why are you crossing so late at night? Like I'm doing something shady. I'm like, I'm going to play with my toys.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, go on. And I got 2 hours of sleep in my car before the tournament. Yeah, it was just like, I think what clinched the deal was somebody offered me a free place to stay at their hotel. And I was like, okay. All I have to do is pay for gas in the tournament. Yeah, I'll be there.
Nice.
And so, and of course, I've always had fun with the Canadian team. I always have fun playing with people Age of Sigmar. I had blast at LVO, and it's just the experience of going to the tournaments and, of course, partying afterwards.
Yeah,
oh, you know who I ran into? You know who I ran into last night after the post tournament karaoke we did.
Who that?
Kelly Freiberg just showed up at the bar we were at, and I was like, "Hey, small world."
Nice.
If people don't know who she is, she's a model. She's a modeler. She's a painter. Her stuff's been in White Dwarf before, and she's also a Seattle local. So, but it was just and running into her, I was like, "Wow, that is a small world."
Yeah, she I don't know if she painted the one that GW shows or if she won some big award for it, but L'Oreal Everchosen, she did something special with that.
Yeah, that's the one on the box is the one she painted.
Crazy. Yeah, she's super cool. Let's see. Crown Royal says, "Wait, you're both in Seatown." I'm just outside Seattle in a town called Bothell.
I'm in Renton, which is SeaTax that way.
Awkward cousin.
Yeah.
Doug, did you check out Frostgrave or Song of Blades and Heroes? I know of Frostgrave, and people were pointing me towards it on our last stream on, I think, Friday. I don't know. I lose track of time. It's a construct. But but that, I haven't done anything more with that. I need to like reel in my craziness for other games for just a hot second and focus on Necromunda and Infinity.
Just do some Necromunda, some Infinity.
Yep.
You'll fall back in love with AOS at some point. Do this right now. You guys are on a break, like Ross and Rachel.
Yeah, we were on a break. No, I just I did nothing but AOS for like 4 years. Mm-hmm. And I realized that there is something fun about being new to a hobby, where everything seems fresh and exciting. And so I started doing that with Infinity, and it was really invigorating. And so actually to the point where so today I cranked out several videos for covering Wrath of the Everchosen. Mm-hmm. Which, and I realized that like my enthusiasm for AOS got stronger because I took a second, gave myself a little mental break, played something else, and then came back with fresh eyes. And I was like, this is awesome.
I can tell you, like, not going to a couple tournaments and then like going to another one, you're like, okay, I have that love back. And it's going to like a convention like LVO or not it's less a convention but than Nova is, but going there and meeting people who enjoy your content is definitely a good recharger for batteries, because you're like, I'm going to keep doing this because people really like what I'm doing. And so that was a big recharger for me. And now I'm painting again, trying to knock this stuff out. Gotta get rid of these bets first, though.
The debts that are holding you back.
Yeah.
No, totally. Yeah, and it's been fun. I gotta tell you, man, Wrath of the Everchosen is a rad book. I want them to do like a series of it.
Ooh, give a little bit of a spoiler. Or I guess not. It's out. It's out. What happens to it? Ooh, I know a little bit.
Nagash has his big plan. He wants to try and take the 8 points, which is like Archaon's home base.
Mm-hmm. Before it was Archaon's, it was Sigmar's, right?
Yeah, it was just kind of everybody's. It was just a spot of like, I don't know, trade and commerce where all the realms meet kind of thing. It wasn't necessarily anybody's. But so he's trying to do that, and so he takes Catacross and Lady O, and they try to invade, and it's like got some pretty cool battles. It's super well written. Like, I don't know, I get a little tired sometimes of like when I'm reading a Space Marine book or even some of the old fantasy battles books when they just like cover warfare, because you're just like, nothing's happening or you can't tell what's going on. Mm-hmm. They just kind of keep using like big words to describe simple things, and you're like, come on, you're just filling. This is fluff. I did this for high school with every English paper. Like, but this one was actually super well done. I always knew exactly what was going on and why it was happening. And it was a good read.
Oh, gotcha. And what happens to Lady Olander?
She kicks some tail in the first act. She gets her tail kicked in the second, and it ends with everyone getting their butt kicked. and Archaon basically pulls the "Oh Lord, he coming!" and then just like brings hell with him, and it's awesome.
Oh my goodness. How big is the lore section? Is like really big.
I think it's like roughly half the book, something like that.
Oh, that's cool. And there are like, is it kind of like one of the end times books where, all right, here's a bunch of lore, and now here's some of the battles you can recreate.
Exactly. Yeah. There's 8 missions, which is awesome, and they let you just like do some of the things you talk about. And honestly, I was reading through them because ever since Forbidden Power, I've been like very keenly looking through narrative missions where I sometimes gloss over them. But like Forbidden
Hmm.
Power had that one where you take away an objective, and that is my favorite mission they've ever made for Age of Sigmar. So
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, now I got to actually read these and see. And honestly, none of them really stand out. Brent likes the
Yeah.
one where it's like the heroes punching each other.
Yeah. This last battle report we did one of the Wrath of the Everchosen missions where it's kind of like shifting objectives, but whatever objectives it is, it kind of explodes and hurts everybody.
Yep, and that's a cool
Yeah,
idea, but it's still just a modification of something that already was
yeah,
there.
yeah. And it
But
was it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun playing those missions because you do get tired of playing Star Strike and
mm-hmm.
whatnot, and some of them are just like, all right, this is not very fun for this particular army. Like Total Commitment really screws over a few armies that like, hey, that's kind of how I have to win and play is
Yep.
the ability to hide stuff. And so
So yeah, none of them. I mean, there were some cool ones, some cool moments, but none of them stood out to me the same way. Um, but yeah, yeah, that one in Forbidden Power is it's my jam.
that's cool.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think how to describe it. So yeah, it was a cool narrative thing. All of the forces you get rules for, like the drowned men and this chaos force, that thing, they all show up in some capacity. A lot of it's just like you can tell they just wanted to like put them in so they can have an excuse to give rules for them. Where it's like all this cool stuff's going on. It's like, hey, and then the Blessed Sun show up, and that's it. That's all they get.
I'm a big fan of the that new battalion where you can run in charge with bloodthirsters and take 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like that's what corn needs. Because corn, like you look at them, you're like, it's slow, it's really slow for what they do. In the world where if you're a close combat army, you have a few, blood boils and you can get some cannons, which I still think are pretty underrated. Just because even though they didn't nerf them, they just clarified that wrathmongers don't bonus them. But the threat of shooting really, really, just if you're not shooting, you're you need to have at least the threat of being able to target somebody's like important units that they're trying to
Yeah,
hide.
yeah. You need some way to make people feel unsafe with their
Yeah.
things that they are important to them.
Hmm. Just
Yep.
like this dude has one of those the crawlers,
Mm-hmm.
the catapults for OBR,
Yeah.
Bone Reaper, and that so concerned me that I concentrated. I took my ironclad over there, and I so was trying to wear it down, but he kept making those shrug saves. But I could have
Mm.
been trying to wear other things down and kill them, but I didn't want that thing shooting me.
Yeah, it's nasty. And what's weird is I don't remember hearing a lot about that from like CanCon or LVO. It seems to be a lot of focus on the ground troops. Mortet Guard.
Mortec, yeah, Mortec Guard is legit.
But I don't know. Right on. So it was. I don't know. It was a really cool book. I'm very excited about it. I want like a series. I want like the Psychic Awakening style series where they just do that. So we'll see.
What's up, Sam? Sam, Corn has one of all things that I love, shouting. And Jack knows how much I love shouting Warhammer things. Yeah, yeah, Nova, he was shouting like wah and stuff, and I was like, oh man, don't do that around me. That's one thing. I'm like, hey man, wait till I'm across the room. Uh,
I know this is your safe place, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta go.
yeah. Yeah, I'll be back. I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be
Yeah,
right back.
yeah. Get it out of your system.
Mm.
Oh man, I've never been into the shouting wall thing. I just
Oh, good times.
I can't even watch battle reports by Mini Wargaming Dave because he yells so much it like stresses me out.
He seems like he's having a good time though. I can
Oh yeah,
appreciate.
yeah. That's the thing. It's not a matter of quality or he annoys me. I don't mind him as a person. It's just like I get stressed.
I just remember I was watching one kind of, it was either battle report or something he was doing, and he had a cold and
Hmm.
he kept sucking in snot and
On the
man,
camera.
yeah, and I was just like, oh, it was made me want to throw up. Or one time he was eating an apple, and I was just like, I can't listen to this.
Yep. There was a while there where every time you started a battle report, like apple of corn, and just crack into an apple, and you're just like, why are we doing this?
The ASMR does not work there.
Yeah, yeah. This is reverse ASMR. Whatever it is that induces stress.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying this.
Right on. What any battle reports you guys have scheduled coming up?
We have a one in the can right now. It is Bone Splitters versus I forget. There's Bone Splitters versus something else, but uh, yeah, I get I don't know who won, which is kind of nice because I usually know who won, but I get to kind of be a fan and watch Brent and
Ooh,
Mark play it. So I'm like, yay!
cool, cool.
Yep, yep. What do you have in? Oh, speaking of battle reports, what's going on, man? You do. What's it been over a year since you made one?
It has not been a year. Oh my god.
It's close to it. When's the last time you made a battle report? I think
A
it was
while.
2017. 2017, I think.
27. Oh my gosh. No, it's been a while. I need to do a battle report. That's true.
Yeah, it's cool. They're fun. It's interesting. Like for battle reports, like I've noticed, it's more geared towards newer players, which is cool, or at least not competitive players, because competitive reports can be like just boring to watch, or just yeah, it's it's fun to play fun games, and it's fun to watch people have fun, in my opinion. And so when
Mm-hmm.
it's you have one player getting their butt kicked, and you can kind of tell they're not having fun. It's like, oh, this isn't. It's just
Yeah.
like watching a seal get clubbed. I don't want to watch this. I
It's true.
love. ah, I introduced my brother to the world of contrast paints. He's been fighting it, but I actually think I might have broke through a little bit today.
I never understood that.
Oh, he's set in his ways, man. He's just like I only like doing it this way, and
Just I
and
like
that's
my paints Reagan era.
yeah, exactly. He is totally just a boomer. He likes it his ways. This newfangled music. What is this? It's not Snoop Dogg. It's crap.
No, man, I've loved them.
Yeah, they're just. But again, like we say, they're just a tool in a toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you're still doing all the other things you were doing before. They're just really good at like a base coat. They're great for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they're super good.
You can really see where you need to highlight.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Hey, Doug, just watched your Flesh Eater Court series over the past 2 days. You really seem to embrace the lore more than others, hinting a few times at your thoughts on grabbing the army and exploring it. Uh, yeah, I mean,
I still have mine in Canada. Sean has it. It's calling you. It has your name on it.
uh,
It's calling you. And it's a good army too. You can gristle gore.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm more interested in that than the Night On I already own. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it is. It's a very cool army. It is something that has tempted me many times.
What is the? Are you going to run any of the new Wrath of the Everchosen battalions, or whatever they're called,
Oh yeah, the
with your
little sub
Nurgle?
factions.
With your Nurgle?
Yeah, I'll probably try the Drowned Men. That's the one that really focuses on Pasquale Blightlords.
And it kind of goes right with your ship, right?
Yep,
Your ship team.
yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, Gutrot Spoon wasn't in the book, but those are his men, and they're like the piratey ones. So, um, Yeah, I think I'll try that. Give it a whirl. But beyond that, the Blessed Suns one is probably the best, to be honest with you, because it gives you a free Atha double for not spending a command point.
Is that for Nurgle?
Yep.
Okay.
But let's see. But yeah, I mean, that's probably the best one, like, if I was going to go to an event. But the problem is, like, the best things in Nurgle are, like, artifact-wise, you give up when you take those because you're forced into that artifact. So, like, I wouldn't be able to take, what is that combination of... Witherstave and, yeah, something else. I can't remember the other one's name.
Have you thought about putting like an ore or something, replacing the weapons of the leg bearers with like an ore, because you can make them the oarsmen of your ship?
I've thought about it. Yes, to answer your question, and it's a great idea. I want to do more in the future. For right now, I kind of just want to get them done. Because it's one of those things that, like, I need to start playing it to get more excited to do more.
Oh yeah, totally.
And so this will do for now. But yes, in the future, I have ideas like that. That's why someone, when I was painting up the last of the Puscoil, was like, "Man, is this even like pirated theme anymore?" It's kind of like you just slapped him. It's like, yeah, I don't care right now.
No.
It was fine. Yeah, he was just asking, but. Like, right now, I just need to get stuff on the table so I can get excited about it.
You just said, yeah, you're right. I'm phoning it in.
Yeah, I know. And phoning it in is still painting better than most other folks. It's just not every single model's converted. But they do all have a custom-made base, which is also more work than I'm ever going to do again.
Oh, no?
I hated it. It's one of those things you're like, okay, I got a couple minutes, I could sit down and paint. And so you crank out some models, right? But then at the end of the day, you're like, when normally I would feel very accomplished, like, but all I did was paint bases. You know what I mean? And I don't have a model to show for all my time. So it just adds a lot more to the process.
Totally get that. I feel you. And like one of your things is speed. You can get a lot done quickly, and it's impressive. But now you're spending all that time on bases, and when you could have had an army done by now.
Exactly. Let's see what else we got for questions. There's a few I missed, I think. I remember when Contrast was about to come out, and you said you probably wouldn't get them. You had the tools you need. It is true. I did say that. It's honestly, I still stand by that for many of the colors. Many of them. I don't like the way Contrast works. But for the flesh and basically the browns is really where it's at for me.
Doug says a lot of stuff. You can look it back at.
Doug, man,
he also said that Flesh Eater Coach was the best army in the game. But at the time, snapshot, people can change their mind. We're not politicians.
Hey, the world came back around. It took it like 3 years to catch up with me, not the other way around.
And that tweet that you sent out about 6 months, man, I was like, oh, Doug is so wrong. And now, like, hey, Maw Tribes just won a GT in England.
Face online competitive people in your force.
Okay, we got Nostradamus over here.
Vindication. Yeah, that's me. Warhammer Nostradamus.
Yeah, and like OBR doesn't seem broken compared to Zeech.
No.
Another army out there.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah, they didn't win LVO.
Let's see. Gilliman Flesh is great. It is absolutely great.
Yeah, I love that one. I think it's one of my favorites. I love. Actually, my favorite is Achillean Green. That's my favorite.
Good choice.
And the Dark Angel Greens is really good too.
Nostradamus. I like that. Let's see. David White. It wouldn't be a bothersome, but I was wondering when you'll talk about the lore contest.
Cool.
I'm going to do dedicated videos. I'm right now in the process of going through. I got more entries than I expected, so it's going to take me a little bit. I'm hoping to have the top 10 picked and to my patrons by this weekend.
It's going to take you as long to do that as it did for me to pay off this bet.
No, because people are really excited. I can't do that. Yeah. So yeah, I will make a big deal when it's time to share. I promise.
We believe in you, Doug. You can do it.
Yeah. I mean, there's some really good ones. There's some where, Mr. Mephisto sent me a pretty awesome thing of fan fiction that is somehow hilarious, not safe for work, and tons of fun. That was a good one. It was entertaining. So things ranging from like just for funsies and some other stuff. So we'll see how it goes. If people take it the way it's intended to be, as just a little fun exercise, we'll do another one. If people complain and get butthurt, we won't.
I think Brent sent in one anonymously because he didn't want like there to be like, oh, he knows you, so he's going to pick you. So I'm curious if you read that one.
Well, me too. I haven't read the one by the guy who was trying to game the system yet. That was a fun one.
Oh, really?
I was just asking several questions about like, is there an advantage to doing this or to covering this specific army because you'll like it more? I was like, oh my gosh, dude.
Wow.
This ain't like doing your taxes. We don't find ways to cheat.
Is there a prize?
Huh?
Is there a prize?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. First place gets a GW voucher, and I don't know. I had a bunch of prizes. I can't remember what they are right now. But, yep.
Oh,
Which is why, the second you add a prize to something, but...
Jesus.
Let's see. Doug, did you see the Archeon cosplay on Instagram? Nope.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Can you share it on your screen, Doug?
I don't know what account it is. I have no idea.
What account is it? Who asked? Let's see. Leaf Erickson 123.
Let's see. I hope a lore contest entry is /fiction. Let's see. We need Militarum Green. Ah. So you're painting the gore dude?
Yep.
Nice.
So he's kind of like an albino, and I think it's turned out pretty good. I like it.
That's awesome.
And he has to be so the Ravens colors are purple and gold, and so it's look pretty good. I kind of want to keep it.
Let's see. When do you have to have it to him by?
I'm just trying to get to him as soon as possible. I should have had it
soon.
like months ago. So, but now I was talking to him. Got put in blast in your chat by your fans who are abusive to me. And so,
it's just Omniphage, yeah.
And there's a couple other ones too. I've got my hit list. So yeah, we are. I'm trying to get him. And like he showed me the haul he got because I think he works like on the oil fields or whatever the oil stuff in Canada.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where it's at. I don't think they have rigs in the ocean, but yeah, he works out there, and he was away for months, I guess, and he came back and just bought all the Age of Sigmar stuff in the world. And I was like, wow, that'd be intimidating. Just a build would take a month. Because I think he got multiple Ether Wars, multiple multiple feast of bone. I'm just like, wow, how many armies are you building, dude? But it looks good.
Doggone.
All right. We're almost on to my favorite step.
Wash.
Wash and
Yep.
highlight.
Now, did you enjoy the Pistoliers list enough? Like, that's what you're going to start painting up?
Yeah, well, this is not the full Pistolier thing where I have 75 of those and I only ran 25.
Okay.
And so it's not but after playing it, I'm like, I need more, but I also like our first GT is coming up in a couple weeks, and I need what can I get tournament legal in
Yeah.
that time? The tournament legal is 3 colors and based, and so I'm like, what can I get? Like I got this thing. Mark helped me out, and so I got this bad boy. This is kind of the base.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm on a boat. Yeah, yeah.
this is going to be mine. I actually borrowed a friend's at the tournament this weekend, but still got the Seahawks game, which is it's really nice not having to think how you're going to paint something.
Yep.
Like, oh, I have a scheme, and so it's one less stressor.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Did it airbrush pretty well? I mean, I know it's a big smooth surface.
Yeah, it was good. It worked very well. And so I went over there so Mark could teach me how to do it, and then Mark just did it while I'm sitting there. Like I'm like, okay, I'll watch. I'm good.
I feel like that's what happened if I ever went to go airbrush. Like, cool. Now show me how to do this one, and then they'll just do it.
Another one. Like, what about and how would you do this? How would you do that 30 more times?
Exactly. Yeah. If 40 plague monks were to spontaneously appear,
can you show me how you do each individual one?
I do need to get an airbrush at some point. That needs to happen.
Oh, it's amazing. It is. It's life. It's almost in the beginning. It's intimidating, but you just have to do it, and then you just get comfortable with it, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And it's just another tool where you realize, oh, you can't airbrush everything. Like you do have to paint still, but it saves a lot of time. It makes everything look really smooth. But there are like things like it's not the easiest thing to use, and like I've learned that it's worth to spend money and get a nicer airbrush, because if you get those cheapy ones from AliExpress and stuff, you'll get a couple good uses, and then all of a sudden it starts splatter and stuff like that. So it's on a Piece of Cake cosplay for the Archeon cosplay.
Okay. Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Thank you, Leaf. Leaf.
Graham. Yeah, I totally know how to spell the word peace. Do you have any of those words where every single time you go to say it like you spell it wrong?
Restaurant.
Oh yeah. Yep. I've had to every time I have to type the word guarantee, I have to like enunciate it like guarantee. Okay, here we go. Okay, we will show this off here on the stream. This guy has put so much work in this, so we'll start where Archeon stuff starts.
Oh, that's awesome.
Looks like it starts here. That's a very Archeon-esque. This isn't the best view for you guys. Apologies. Let's see. Yeah, there's the helm. I dig it.
That dude is got talent. He has talent.
He's got the eye of...
David White, it says accommodation is his favorite because so many hotels have it wrong.
Ah. That is a good one. Accommodation. Yeah, man. This guy is looking rad.
It was very impressive.
Got the eye of Ed Sheeran right there. John Penn says SteamYard. Not sure I follow. There we go. Probably auto-corrected from something I was trying to say.
You don't know how to spell SteamYard, dude? It's my brothers. He will come in here and just take paints, and I'm like, "Do you have my screaming skull?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sorry."
What happened was I needed it for this one thing. You're like,
Hey, just put it back.
John Penn, help me out. Just saying StreamYard doesn't help me. What is it? But let's see. These guys are darn near done, or table ready at least.
Sweet.
So yeah, I need to, since it's like 3 weeks away, I need to actually get some reps in with the Nurgle list.
Perfect. I need some reps in with Kendrick's Eye.
Yeah.
What are you doing on Thursday?
On Thursday?
Yeah.
Hanging out with you.
All right, let's go to want to do Mox Bellevue.
It is a deal.
All right, see you Thursday. We'll have a Tempest Eye versus Nurgle, and I'll try not to blow you out of the water like the first we played.
I'm debating on if I want to, when I go to this event, if I want to take it easy with the Wrath the Everchosen things, or if I want to try to bring the heat, so to speak.
I say bring the heat. Don't go to a tournament and not bring the heat unless you're going to a narrative thing. And even if you are going to a narrative thing, bring a little heat because people will show up to a narrative tournament with tournament stuff, with like competitive stuff. You're like, dude, what is this? Three Terrorgeist Gristlegore list you're bringing to a tournament to a narrative event.
My story is that I have a bunch of winners. Speaking of narrative events, I'll tell you what, got something cool I'm working on with the guys from the Mortal Realms podcast. Have you ever listened to them?
I know.
They are the Dougs of the podcast world, doing AOS lore stuff. They do like book summaries and all that kind of thing. Very cool guys.
They have a YouTube channel?
Do what?
They have a YouTube channel?
They put it on YouTube, but they don't. I mean, it's not like a channel in the sense that.
So if it's on YouTube, I'll listen to it.
Yeah. The Mortal Realms. They run the AOS narrative events at Adepticon.
Okay.
And we're still kind of like talking through how we want to do it, but basically, after the depressing weekend for me that was the CanCon LVO, when we'll say tensions ran high on the internet and people were being salty to each other, it was suggested to me by the host of another podcast that I should reach out to the Adepticon guys and be like, hey, let's cover narrative stuff in a similar fashion but more flavorful the way than the competitive events are covered.
Somebody needs to do that.
Yeah, and so that's
content for competitive stuff, and I'm like, that's only 10% of the population.
Yeah.
It's like,
and so that's what I'm going to try to do at Adepticon. I'm going to try and do my first shot at narrative event coverage.
Sounds good.
Yep. So it should be a lot of fun. We'll see how it goes. I don't quite know how I'm going to do it yet, but be a learning process.
You can spitball some ideas.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is a lore video for the story leading up to the event.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they have their own like background. It's called the Gibbering Dome. It's like a vault or something like that. I haven't read the full thing yet, but I want to do a lore video for it beforehand, and then so I'm gonna get a laptop, and I
Okay.
was thinking like between rounds of the event, making like like those old like 1940s like propaganda things in 40s, like this week in the wall, it's all black and white,
Yeah, yeah,
doing that kind of thing, but updating people on how the story's progressing.
yeah. Flash now in 1942.
Exactly, yeah. Go get 'em, boys. That kind of thing. Um, that'd be kind of funny because that way you could tell the story in real time with actual pictures of what's going on and how the story's progressing.
That would be really cool.
Um, and then having like interviews with players like as they finish their games, just being like, "Hey, come sit with me. Like, tell me about your army. What's the story behind it?" Um, that kind of thing. Do you have any ideas you can throw out there? I'm just spitballing.
I do like the like doing almost like a news report or like the town crier. This is what happened. Keeping people up to date on who aren't there and weave it into a story. That would be very entertaining. I would watch it. Make me want to go and like participate in this. Like, oh, I can have my story told rather than my story is, I went 3-2, had fun, and this guy cheated because he picked up this many dice and said that he hit me when I clearly saw it was a 4 and he said it was a 5.
No,
I'm not salty.
not at all. I can tell.
That would be interesting. It's like the more I learn about narrative stuff, because before I just didn't get it. But then, like, when I was either I was a guest on somebody's podcast or you were, and I was listening to him. I think the guy, God, he's on the Kitsap Peninsula. You know his name, right? He has the YouTube show.
Oh, Mark with Digital and Dice.
Yeah, Mark. Yes, yes. He's the one who explained narrative, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. The light bulb went off, and I'm like, ooh, I would love to try this now.
Right on. Yeah, it's cool stuff. If anyone has ideas on things we can do to do narrative event coverage, go ahead and leave them in the chat. I see an idea came in. Give me 1 second. I'll read it. Let me just get this done here.
I'll be right back.
Okay. You gonna go hunt down your paint? Let's see. All right. Hey, Doug and Jack, what do you suggest is a good way to get some old fantasy players to test out AOS? Looking to get my old group back together. I don't really have a suggestion other than just being honest and being like, guys, I think you would really enjoy this. You can't make someone like something. If they all switch to a different game, one thing that I've had success with is like, hey, can I teach you my game and then you teach me your game and we'll just play. You know what I mean? Especially if they own fantasy models. Don't bring up rebasing, and if they ask, tell them the truth, which is you don't have to. It's encouraged, but for the purposes of just trying the thing out to see if you like it, absolutely not. So just doing like I'll invest time in your thing that you like, and then do the same for me. That tends to work. Just kind of go out with an open mind that they're not always going to be into it. You can't make someone like something. Let's see. Hey Doug, what do you think about the Drowned Men in the Archeon versus Mum Ra book? I think they are cool. They're kind of in this weird thing. So like all the stuff that I was looking for a brief moment at Tamerkin's Horde, which was before this the only Nurgle sub-faction. The cool thing about that is your general has this bubble where everything can charge, and so all of my flies are based upon Puscoil Blight Lords are based upon getting in there aggressively, and so it gives them that. So it to me is like a middle way between plain Nurgle and Tamerkin's Horde, which is interesting. I don't think it's necessarily like the most efficient like competitive way to play them because you're giving up an artifact. in exchange for every time a Nurgle dude dies on a 2-up, the enemy takes a mortal wound, which is really good if you have a lot of Blight Kings, but when I only have like 8 Puscoil Blight Lords, it's not a lot of wounds. Narratively, absolutely. Heck yes, 10 out of 10 would totally do again. Yeah, those are my thoughts. So yeah.
Give respect to him for saying Mum-Ra and not Skeletor. Everybody keeps saying Skeletor, but
No,
Mum-Ra
Mum-Ra is way more apt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good pull. It's good. Mum-Ra is so cool.
Cold Shoulder used to interview players as though they are the actual generals of their army.
Ooh.
You know, here's the thing. You ready for the thing? Here it is, coming to you live via Doug. Some people have the charisma where that would be really fun. And some people are awkward and it would be cringy. So I don't know how I feel about that one, but it's a cool idea. Doug, so how did you feel about this battle? General, not gonna lie, I thought they had us by the second half.
Like a little sideline reporter.
Yeah.
Are you going to dress up? Get a little costume?
I hadn't thought about that. I should figure that out.
Make yourself all Nurgly.
Just shave my beard and just have a mustache. I'm on the field. Thanks, Tom. Back to you. I'll get myself some comically large headphones to make it seem like I'm all the reporters, like for a WWE game.
Yeah, have like some theme music.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, so I had a few ideas like that. So it was going to be, little short game coverages that go over like the story. I was going to do covering the pairings, because that would be a big deal. Of like, Zinch is attacking this side of the tower, or whatever the story is for the thing. What else? I thought about that. I thought about obviously flooding Instagram and Twitter and Facebook with pictures of the event, what's going down. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, is I'm trying to think of ways, because like I don't want to focus just on like which factions are winning and that kind of stuff. More on the stories being told, and that's the thing, is like when you switch from saying like competitive coverage to the narrative coverage, you're taking away a lot of the things that you're actually going to be like talking about. You got to replace it with something else.
I see. Yeah.
Ooh, Torben wins. We need a gyrocopter reporter. Well, yes, Tom. I'm currently overlooking the left flank.
There's a pile up here.
Yep.
A Bulgor ran into a unit of Centaurs. It's not pretty.
Yep. I could do a green screen weatherman map in the hotel room. Yeah, I don't know. There's some interesting things. I needed to talk. So like we're just kind of like starting our conversation. So I need to talk more with the guys running it to see like how they actually have it all set up, so I can really dive into those ideas. Let's see. Where are we at? About an hour and 8 minutes in.
Okay, you ready to call it?
Yeah, I gotta wind down. I gotta go get ready for
good.
the week to start. Plus,
Yeah,
these guys are waiting for paints to dry.
Needs to get something out of here. I'm like, wait till I'm done, fool. All right, well, I'll catch you later, man.
Yeah. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for joining me, Jack, and everyone who's watching. Y'all have a wonderful week, and join me tomorrow morning because we're going to jump into Wrath of the Everchosen. Bye-bye. It's going to be great.